Howdy fam, welcome back. So glad you're here. Before we get started, I just want to mention that Danger Fruit's on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and we're on Facebook. Check us out on the socials. Plus, if you could give this video a like and you subscribe, first, you will have taken a bunch of actions, and second, I will be very appreciative. You won't regret it. All right? Now, welcome to the 5th episode of Danger Fruit. This episode is going to be on one of the newest westerns to come out since the conception of this channel, but also since the premiere of this video. And I'm so excited. We're going to talk about News of the World. News of the World came out on Christmas of 2020. It was directed by Paul Greengrass. It stars Tom Hanks, Woody, and in her first English-speaking role, Helena Zengel. So quick rundown. Captain Jefferson Kyle Kidd goes around from town to town in Texas to read the news of the world. Anyway, on his travels, he comes across the wreckage of a wagon that's been ransacked, and he discovers there's still someone there. It's a young German girl who he finds out's named Johanna. She speaks no English and finds out that she'd been captured by the Kiowa Indian tribe. So Kidd seeks out the military's assistance to help her get back to her family. That plan bears no fruit, and he takes it upon himself to take the trip with her to her new home, which, by the way, is like 400 miles away. Let's hit the highlights. They get into town, meet a strong-willed woman who happens to be friends with Captain Kidd and owner of the inn. She checks on his well-being while helping him accept the responsibility that he's decided to take on, and all the while is becoming quick friends with Johanna because guess who can speak the language of the Kiowa? Next town. Men try to buy Johanna for nefarious reasons. Kidd and Johanna make a run for it, where they're chased into the hills and a gunfight breaks out, and it leaves you on the edge of your seat. Next stop, Erath County, home to radicals who strongly disagree with Texas and the way that the South is heading, abolishing slavery. Captain Kidd decides to poke the bear a bit and not read Erath's news. Well, nonetheless, they make an exciting getaway and keep on trucking. Some miles later, runaway wagon. Now they're on foot with low to no water, and oh, by the way, there's an enormous dust storm coming. But with some generosity from the passing Kiowas, they've got a horse, and they are in the home stretch. That's not a path. So they end up finding Johanna's aunt and uncle, which, by the way, these people are way caught off guard, but also visibly not psyched about this new arrangement. Captain Kidd, in the meantime, goes back to San Antonio, and that's where he was from before he went off to war. And unfortunately, while he was gone, where his wife passed. He gets there and has a therapeutic experience, and then realizes the mistake that he's made and races back to Castroville where he left Johanna. So he gets back to find Johanna tied to a post. And then he tells her in Kiowa, "You belong with me." And they race off to be their own family. And I wasn't crying, you were crying. God. So much good, so little time. First, let's talk about Tom Hanks and Helena Zengel. Y'all, we aren't worthy. They played both of their roles so well, it's insane. Helena Zengel, an 11 or 12-year-old, was mostly nonverbal through this entire film, and the way that she still communicated with her physicality, even down to the most subtle facial expressions, she nailed it. And T. Hanks and his persona carried so well into this performance. The way that he is able to play a character who's so bogged down by trial and adversity, but then is still like working to keep moving forward. I expected no less, and he served it up on a platter. Also, definitely worth mentioning, all the people representing the Kiowa tribe in this film are actual members of the Kiowa tribe today. Welcome to 2021, we're the real freaking deal. Johanna is actually speaking Kiowa, and she learned it from one of the last people on the planet to be able to speak the language. Also, generosity is one of the main characteristics of the Kiowa tribe. And in a scene like where they give the horse to Captain Kidd and Joanna, that's just an instance that we get to watch that generosity be played out. On top of that, this film just had so much good, I don't even know that I could fit it all into this video. Call me jaded or biased, but I think the bad might be a little heavy-handed for this film. I mean, it got a lot of praise, it got nominated for a lot of awards. Objectively, this is a good film. I think what might be worth mentioning is this is not a fast movie. And by not fast, I mean you're literally going on a quest, a journey, a voyage with two people on a wagon through the plains of Texas. Between towns, it's pretty desolate. And there's not much going on, but you're packing along the entire way. So if you're having a party with a bunch of people and the joy is just overflowing, I wouldn't necessarily suggest to pop this film in. It's not gonna be the thing that really keeps the good times rolling. This movie, y'all, the journey that we go on with these two really doesn't hold back from showing us how difficult it would be to take a journey like this, and the characters do a great job of showing it. I mean, the terrain that they cover, gunfights on the side of a hill, rain pours down, they lose their wagon and horses, they have almost no water and they're on foot. Oh, a dust storm's rolling through. Ooh, we just found your family and they're not excited to see you or to have to deal with you. Death and loneliness. This trip is taxing, but also so formative at the same time. I mean, we're like watching a metaphorical diamond being formed right in front of us. The way this movie shows people receiving news about how the country is changing 5 years after the Civil War is so interesting to watch, but also feels so relevant all at the same time. Watching Joanna be a kid who, when she was real young, was captured and all of her family was killed, to then a few years later being with a family who was also all killed, and then being taken back by the government who's going to take her on a trip to the rest of her remaining family and rip her from a life that she's accustomed to with the Kiowas for one that's supposed to be superior. Rightfully, she's not psyched about it at all. The complexity of that character background is enormous. And I'll say it again, this girl Helena, she played it beautifully. I mean, she carried the weight of that like it was nothing. When the dust storm's cutting through and Joanna goes to the passing Kiowa to ask for a horse, you can see in Captain Kidd's face everything we need to know about how the white man felt about natives. It was this look of apprehension, not really knowing what's gonna happen next. Are they gonna take or kill this girl? Are they gonna take or kill me? The look was so much of, I don't know what's gonna happen next, and all of a sudden, I'm more afraid and confused than I am confident in the moral superiority I supposedly hold. At one point, Captain Kidd says to Joanna, settlers are killing Indians for their land, Indians are killing the settlers for taking it. And in that moment, all I could think was like, yep, pretty much hit the nail on the head. I think that this film did a great job of telling a classic tale, but giving it some freshness, and then also giving us insight into just how much more complex it could really be. I was there for every minute of it, and even going along, it was one of those things where you felt like you knew what was coming next, but no, you didn't. Go watch this movie, fam. Stay dusty.